Welcome back to Nerd Radio. We've got an extra special thing to end this week's Nerd Radio, and that is a brief sit-down discussion with WWE Intercontinental Champion, longest reigning NXT UK champion, and just wins belts everywhere he goes and chops everybody as hard as humanly possible. We were talking to the WWE's Gunther. Gunther, how are you this morning?
How are you? I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is a pleasure to talk to you. I've been a fan for a long time, well before you were probably even in NXT UK, seeing videos of you on YouTube and just being like, did he just kill that man? He hit him so hard.
Trying to, at least.
Well, it is neat. It is fantastic to talk to you. Of course, we've got as we speak now, you've got a match with the for the Intercontinental title this coming Friday with Shinsuke Nakamura. How are you feeling leading into that match?
Oh, I'm excited. I feel really good about it. Shinsuke is easily one of the best wrestlers in the world of the last decade, like the last 10 years or something.
Sure.
When I really started out in my career, going around places and stuff, he was definitely one of the guys I always used to watch. And to be like, okay, that's the standard that is set in the world right now when it comes to quality of matches and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's really exciting to get to wrestle him now and compete with him in the ring. And yeah, but regardless of that, in there with like focused on my own success, and he's a great opponent. It's gonna be a great contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks when SmackDown hits the Little Caesars Arena here, August 26th. Ticketmaster still has tickets available right now. Drew McIntyre, Ronda Rousey be there. And of course, our Intercontinental Champion, Gunther, we're looking forward to seeing you as well. Now, you've been on the SmackDown roster for a couple of months now. Is there, I took some questions before, let me back up. Before I talk to you here, I took a couple of questions from our listeners to see what they would like to ask you. And one of our listeners, Tivius Sloan, asked almost immediately, when are you going to take on the Bloodline? I think a dream match for a lot of fans is like, well, Roman Reigns and Gunther, that'd bring the house down. Is that something that you are focused on and looking forward to?
Focused on right now, I'm not. I'm definitely here to compete with the best. That's like, I didn't come over to just hang around and see what happens. I'm here to be the top guy, to get in the ring with the best the company has to offer. And obviously those three you mentioned are, especially Roman, are in that category. So that step down the line, that's definitely something I want to do. But like I just said before, right now, I got Shinsuke this Friday, so that's my main focus. But going forward, definitely.
That's a good mindset too, to not look past somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura, because like you said before, he's been a fantastic talent for years and years and years. So that alone is definitely a dream match to see the two of you guys in the ring. Is there any dream matches that you personally have as far as now that you're on the main WWE roster with SmackDown and Raw, or even people that are no longer or haven't yet been with the WWE? Are there wrestlers that you're like, man, I'd really like to get in the ring and mix it up with them?
Well, I don't really have a list of people I wanna wrestle. I gotta say, like I said before, I want to be in the ring with the best. There are some matches that have been thrown around recently a little bit. I saw Bobby Lashley coming out and saying like he's open for a contest. That's something I'm very interested to.
Yeah,
obviously,
that would be great.
The guy's an absolute beast. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
So obviously that's something I want to do, and that's just one name of many in that company that are super established and that can be categorized as the top of the world in this sport, in professional wrestling, basically. And that's what I'm aiming for. So all those typical names that come up when you mention the best, those are the ones I want to go after.
Sure. Now you have one of your trademarks for the long time has been the how big you are as a person, how tall you are, and what a massive man you are, that people are like, how are you going to beat a guy that large? Now, since you've moved to SmackDown, fans have noticed that you've dropped a bunch of weight and you're actually very chiseled now. How does it feel you know, like what's your workout regimen? What's your dieting regimen as far as that? How do you feel as a person now that you are slimmer and more defined?
I gotta say, I never had like any issues in the ring or something. Like my stamina was always good. Always, yeah, I could always carry myself through whatever I needed to do with
Sure.
any issues. But obviously, there's a difference now. I move way. I would say movements are way easier now and stuff like that. There's definitely a difference I can feel. Um, in regards of the training didn't really change much. Besides, I do more cardiovascular exercises now. And then yeah, basically just adapted the diet. I always like the chunky look of an old school heavyweight, and I
Sure.
stick around with that. But then when I moved over here, and I knew I would be heading towards main roster, I thought, okay, it's time to change myself up a little bit and go through a little bit of a development with with the person I am, to yeah, to make a statement a little bit.
Yeah, I was definitely in the camp when we first noticed that like Gunther is smaller, but I mean he's still hitting people as hard as humanly possible. I was like, man, I did kind of like him when he was an old school kind of just a big wall of a man. But like I said, it has not changed your wrestling style whatsoever. That was something I definitely wanted to ask you about because you are known for what looks like the hardest chops in professional wrestling. And I wanted to know, like, was there a moment, was there a specific chop maybe that you hit somebody with and you went, oh, this is going to be my thing? Like the crowd really responded to that and that looked and felt really good.
Not that I can remember a particular situation or something like that. It was more like when it came to the stuff I do in the ring, I always tried to be as logic as possible. To be like, okay, what makes sense for me to do with my body constitution. So I always thought I got very long limbs, I got long legs, and I got long arms. So I was like, okay, a bunch of strikes is gonna make sense for me. And then I just played around with stuff and to see what works and what doesn't. And then I pick the things I'm basically doing now and try to do them as efficient, as good as possible over time. And a knife edge job is one of those things.
Somebody else, one of our listeners, actually one of my co-hosts for a wrestling podcast that I do on the side, her name's Erica, actually wanted me to ask you. So you have two matches in NXT. Not only do you have some of the best matches in NXT, but two matches that were rated as 5-star matches. And in fact, CBS Sports ranked your 2020 match with Ilya Dragunov as the best match of the year. Do you have a favorite between those two matches?
Um, no, I don't think there's a favorite. They've been different each time. I think like the first one was special because it was in an empty arena.
Yeah.
During the pandemic and stuff, and it was like I was the quite dominant part in that match, and I still dominated that match, and it basically I dictated it a little bit more, and then going back or like going forward, and from there, I don't know, I don't remember if it was months or even a little bit longer than a year.
Sure.
Ilya developed as a wrestler too, so in that match I was way more in danger right from the get-go than in the other match. So it was, I think we set a very different tone in the two matches. So they've been very different. I think for the viewer, they've been, they're out, like, just when it comes to the ending of the matches, it's been different too, because the one is the actual success story and the other one wasn't.
Yeah, that's something she said is like, I bet his favorite is the one that he won instead of the one that he did not win.
Yeah, I think at the end, I feel like at the end, I think the second one might be the one that I maybe prefer when it comes to like gut feeling wise, because it kind of closed the circle for me.
Yeah.
From my time in NXT UK. And I felt like I did it in the best way possible I could do it. And so I think like when all that was done, I felt very achieved with my time there.
You hear a lot of rock stars when they go into like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or they get passed over for like an award. They're like, well, awards don't really matter when it comes to finding out like Dave Meltzer gave you 5 stars on a match, or that, you know, CBS Sports said it's the match of the year. Do you guys feel the same way, or do like you and Ilya like at one point look at each other and like, dude, we got a 5-star match? How cool is that?
No, I never had that moment, Ilya.
No.
I think I have more than 1 or 2. I don't know. I literally don't know how many 5-star
Sure.
matches I had. But obviously, like you just mentioned, comparing it with musicians and stuff like that, it's a little bit of a thing to play down awards a little bit. At the end of the day, there's truth to that. It doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't make a big difference.
Yeah.
But it still is, obviously the reality is there's that outlet that gives out an award, and a lot of people listen to that, or to a lot of people that opinion is important. So it definitely helps it helps you in marketing, in the marketing perspective. You get talked about a lot more and stuff like that. So in that regard, it's a good thing. And I guess when you look back in a few years, or I don't know, 20, 30 years, if people remember that and mention it, it's gonna be nice for everybody who ever got awarded with something.
For sure. Well, like I said earlier, we're looking forward to seeing you along with Drew McIntyre, Ronda Rousey, and the whole SmackDown crew at the LCA on August 26th. Tickets still available, Ticketmaster. And I was just informed before the interview here that the dark match is actually going to be the Street Profits versus the Usos. And dark match is always a great opportunity to see the wrestlers with the cameras off and see you guys kind of like have a good time and have some fun out there. I've got one more question for you before I let you go, Gunther. Thank you so much for your time here. You just tweeted out a couple of days ago a amazing picture of yourself, and the caption was just in all caps, "Pro Wrestling Champion," and a lot of people picked up on that because before Vince McMahon had retired a few weeks ago, it was something the fans had thought that, like, you know, calling yourself wrestlers was something that they didn't want you to do. They wanted you to think of yourself as sports entertainers. Once again, you've only been with SmackDown for a couple of months, but there's been some huge changes in the last month alone. Is that something that you can feel backstage and in your work, that like things are different now?
To be fair, and I'm actually glad I got the chance to work with Vince a little bit.
Sure.
Since my time there and the few interactions we had, there weren't that many. I'm actually kind of glad that happened, so I still made that experience a little bit.
Absolutely.
Obviously, everybody was surprised about that, and then, yeah, if whatever company, if somebody else is in charge, things gonna be done a little bit different. That's normal. Everybody has his own approach. But I've got to be honest, I haven't felt stressed or anything like that before. I always kind of focused on myself, and I did myself, and that's not gonna change. And that's the same with obviously from the tweet I got there was big reactions on that and stuff like that.
Sure.
If you open my Twitter page or my Instagram, it always said Berufsringer or Berufsringkämpfer. I don't even know what it says exactly, which is the German word for professional wrestler. It's always been in there, and at the end of the day, a professional wrestler is a sports entertainer. Professional wrestling is a sport that is there to entertain.
Sure.
It's not a competitive sport. You can say it one or the other way. I always refer to myself as a professional wrestler, and even in WWE, where the entertainment aspect is way higher, let's say, than compared to other places. At the end, when the bell rings, it's wrestling will never change, and that's what it is. But there has not been, I wouldn't say there has not been a memo or something like that where it's like, hey guys, you can call yourself wrestlers again or something.
Sure.
And I never stopped referring to myself as that. So.
Well, I'm very, very interested to see you in a live capacity after seeing you effectively chop the shit out of some of my favorite wrestlers over the last couple of years when you guys come to the LCA. And thank you so much for your time this morning, Walter. Or I'm sorry, Gunther.
Thank you very much.
I told myself, I was like, it's Gunther. It's Gunther. Don't mess it up. And then and I'm like, you dummy.
That's fine.
Before I let you go, can I have you do a liner for me so we can use it? Like, hey, this is Gunther from the WWE, and you're listening to Nerd Radio.
Okay, sure. What's it called? Nerdradio?
Nerdradio. Yep.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
Go right ahead.
Hey, this is WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, and you're listening to Nerdradio.
Awesome. Thank you. If I could get just one more, it's the same show, but same thing. It's, hey, this is WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, and this show is scheduled for one fall.
Okay. This is WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, and this show is scheduled for one fall.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks so much for the time today, Chuck.
Thank you, John.
Great. Have a good one.
You too.